All right, so at this point, we continue our discussion of continuity. And in particular, we are going to begin today's class by proving this theorem that I've already put on the screen. This theorem has to deal with continuous functions over bounded intervals. And in particular, what it says is that if you have a continuous function over a closed interval, then in fact, the function itself is bounded and in fact attains its maximum and minimum. Okay, so before I parse the statement of the theorem, let's clarify what we mean by a function that is bounded. A function is said to be bounded if its range is bounded. What is the range of the function? The range of the function is simply the set of values taken by the function as the argument sweeps the domain. Okay, so if that range of values taken by the function is a bounded subset of R, we say that the function itself is bounded. All right. So now let's come back to the theorem statement right below. So the theorem statement tells you that if f is a continuous function over a closed interval, let's say of the form a comma b, where a is smaller than b, then f is bounded, which means that the range of this continuous function over the closed interval must necessarily be bounded. Moreover, f must attain its maximum and minimum over this domain a comma b. In other words, I can find a point x0 and a point y0 also in the interval ab, such that f of x0 is basically a lower bound on the function value and f of y0 is an upper bound on the function value. In other words, x0 is like the minimizer of the function over the interval, y0 is the maximizer of the function over the interval. So what the second part of the theorem is asserting is that these maximizers or minimizers are guaranteed to exist in the interval a comma b. That's what we mean by saying that f attains its maximum and minimum on the interval. Okay, so this is something that we will prove using basically all the ideas that we have built so far. So there are two parts to this theorem. The first part is simply to say that f is bounded. In other words, a continuous function over a closed interval is necessarily bounded. Okay, a closed and bounded interval, right? So it's not, so minus infinity to infinity is also considered to be a closed interval, but that's not what we are talking about. We are talking about a continuous function over a bounded closed interval. Okay, so this will work by contradiction. First we will say, suppose that f is not bounded. Okay, so what is the implication of this? The implication of this is the following. I can construct the sequence, let's say xn, in the interval ab such that f of xn in absolute value is larger than a. This follows from the fact that f is not bounded. If it's not bounded, then I can always find a point where the function value exceeds n for every n. Okay, so this defines the sequence xn. Okay, but since since xn is a bounded sequence, every value of xn is within the interval ab, right? But since this constructed sequence xn itself is a bounded sequence, by BWT there exists a convergent subsequence. Let's call it xnk. Okay, so what have we done so far? We assume that for the sake of obtaining a contradiction, that f is not bounded. If it's not bounded, I can construct the sequence xn composed of values within the interval ab such that the absolute value of f of xn actually exceeds n. Now, because of the fact that this xn is a bounded sequence, by BWT there exists a convergent subsequence. Let's call it xnk. Okay, so what does that mean? That if you look at x and k, well, as k goes to infinity, it converges to the limit p. Okay, so my claim now is that this p must also belong to the interval AB. Why is this? This has to do with the fact that xn, the entire sequence, and specifically the subsequence xn k, belongs to the interval, the closed interval AB. So if a sequence taking values in a closed interval AB has a limit, then the limit must also lie in the interval AB. So I leave a complete justification of this to you, but convince yourself that this p, because it is the limit of a sequence taking values in the closed interval AB, the limit also must lie in the interval AB. Okay, so what do we have so far? We have two conclusions. First, because the function is continuous, if you look at f of x and k, it must converge to f of p as k goes to infinity. This follows from the continuity of f, but remember we constructed x in such a way that absolute value of xn is greater than n, which means that if you look at the absolute value of x and k, it must go to infinity, which is a contradiction. Right, and this is what shows that the assumption that f is not bounded is incorrect. In other words, f must be bounded. So what we have proved in the first part of the theorem is that a continuous function over a closed and bounded interval is bounded. Okay, now comes to the second part of the theorem where we have to prove that the maximizer and the minimizer well, exists. Right, so let's move to the next page. Okay. Now, since f is known to be bounded from part 1, let me define m to be the supremum of the values taken by the function. Okay, so m is the, taking the domain of the function to be the closed interval AB, m is in fact the supremum of the range. And because the range is bounded, the supremum is in fact a real number. Right? Now what I will show is that there exists an element within the interval AB where the value of the function is exactly equal to m, and that is in fact going to be my maximizer. Okay, so let us see how I will go about doing that. Now because m is the supremum of this set, my claim is that there exists a sequence nk, so let's xn, sorry, such that f of xn converges to m. Okay, this follows from the fact that m is the supremum of the set f of x belongs to AB. The fact that m is the supremum means that I can essentially construct a sequence xn such that f of xn converges to m. Okay, once again by BWT, there exists a convergent subsequence let's say x and k of the sequence xn. Right? So the fact that there exists a convergent subsequence implies that if you look at x and k, as k goes to infinity, will have some limit p, which using the same justification as we did before would also be guaranteed to lie in AB. Okay, so we have that x and k converges to the limit p, which is in the interval AB, which implies by continuity that f of x and k must converge to f of p. But remember, f of xn converges to m, which implies that f of x and k, which is in fact a subsequence of f of xn, also converges to m. Right? So therefore we learn that f of p is equal to m, which implies that p is a maximizer of the function. right? So effectively what we have proved is that this continuous function on the bounded closed interval attains its maximum, right? Because the maximum in this case is essentially just the supremum of the values taken by the function, and it attains its maximum. Namely, there is a point, there is guaranteed to be a point within the interval a comma b where the function value is exactly equal to the supremum. Okay, so therefore is the maximum. Similar argument will apply to minimum. And that completes the proof. Okay, so the thing to reiterate, we have proved that a continuous function on a closed bounded interval is bounded, and moreover it attains its maximum and its minimum. Okay, so that's the takeaway. And yeah, the main result we have used is, again, we have exploited the fact that it's continuity, that the system that is continuous, and we have used BWT on two occasions, in fact, in the proof. Okay, now let me make a disclaimer here. This actually, if you think about it, the proof actually requires critically that the interval that we have considered is closed. That is, the theorem does not apply if we consider an open interval. Okay, for example, suppose I look at function f, let's say from the open interval 0 comma 1 to r, such that f of x is equal to 1 by x. Okay, now verify that this function defined on the open interval 0 comma 1 is in fact continuous. However, this f is not bounded. Right? In particular, the range of this function is unbounded from above. Right? So it's unbounded from above. So there is no maximizer, and in fact, yeah, it doesn't even obtain its minimum. So no maximizer, no minimizer. Right? In particular, yeah, there is no element in the interval 0 comma 1, in the open interval 0 1, which is in fact a lower bound on the function throughout. So that's what we mean by saying there is no minimizer. Similarly, there is no element in the interval 0 1 such that the function value at that point is in fact an upper bound on the function value across the interval 0 1. So no maximizer, no minimizer. Right? And this comes from the fact that even though f is continuous, the domain under consideration here is in fact an open interval rather than a closed interval, right? So therefore, an exercise for you is to go back to the proof that we have written and check for yourself where the closedness of the interval is playing a role, right? So there is something in the proof where that crucially relies on the fact that in the proof we consider a closed interval a comma b. Okay, so what that is, I'll leave that for you to identify. Okay, so we'll stop this here, and the next step is to prove the intermediate value theorem.